Greetings, B-movie aficionados.
Hello, welcome to A Couple of Flicks. I'm Tristan.
I'm Nick.
And I'm Zach.
So today we will just continue pretty much what we're doing, as we usually do. This time with the kind of picks that we chose for last time, continue with the 2000s film theme. But before we do that, have either of you watched anything in the last couple of weeks that you want to sort of mention or talk about?
I've been on a little bit of a Jackie Chan kick.
Nice.
Oh, right. Yeah, I saw that.
Excellent.
Fuck yeah.
Watched Police Story 2, 3, and 4.
Cool.
Nice.
Was it Police Story 3 that was Super Cop? Or
Yeah.
Okay.
3 Super Cop, sure. 4 is First Strike.
Okay. That's right. Yeah, I've only seen the American versions of those. So.
Yeah, that's unfortunately all I had to watch.
Yeah. Yeah,
the dubbing is terrible, so is the editing.
Yeah. That's the one thing about a lot of I guess that's kind of the sort of thing that was controversial with Miramax back in the day was the fact that like on one hand it was cool that they were getting they were getting a hold of all these sort of various like Asian imports and really cool movies like Iron Monkey and stuff like that. But then on the other hand, like they would always alter them or redub them or edit them in some way, and it would always sort of like weaken the original product. Like I get why they do that because they want to like adjust it for America or for Western audiences, but like it kind of takes away a little bit what like made those movies interesting in the first place. I feel like by sort of taking out some of the like I guess less conventional aspects and sort of altering it so that it kind of fits the sort of blueprint of the general like American action movie. It's just kind of a bummer that they do that, so but they're lucky that Jackie Chan is actually like a really good comedic actor and a good like physical actor in that way, because if he hadn't have been so talented, those movies wouldn't have worked out in the first place. So.
Oh yeah,
he carries them for sure.
Yeah. Did you ever see, in the West, it was called Super Cop 2. I think in China, I think the original title was either New Police Story or Police Story something. I can't remember the name of it. But in the West, it was called Super Cop 2. Did you ever see that one?
I haven't. I looked for it because I was like, I want to watch all the Super Cop or Police Story movies. And that it's kind of an out of print DVD now. So
yeah.
Oh. I think I have seen it.
It's the one that stars.
I've seen most of them.
It's the one that stars Michelle Yeoh rather than Jackie Chan. Like Jackie Chan is in it, but he only has a cameo appearance.
Oh, then no.
Yeah. That one, I guess not as many people have seen, and I've seen that. I've only seen it on VHS, and that one, like, it's definitely not as good as Jackie Chan's movies, but it's still kind of interesting in its own way. I thought, it was sort of cheesy, but I kind of dug what they were going for with it. Like they were trying to make it more serious, but they were also trying to kind of like, still sort of keep the physical action aspect of it intact as well. Like I don't know, it was just an interesting experiment. I wouldn't really call it a good movie though. So
have you seen his animated series he had?
I saw some of that. Yeah.
Yeah,
the one that was on whatever channel it was, like Fox.
I think it was
Family or something.
I don't remember exactly.
Or the Family Channel, ABC Family, maybe. I don't know.
It was pretty good, to be honest. Like for the
Yeah.
For what
Yeah,
it's still translated pretty well to action.
I remember liking it. I remember actually watching like more than a few episodes. So
Yeah, I watched most of it for sure when I was a kid because I liked it. I liked Jackie Chan even back then, and
yeah.
so I definitely checked it out and liked most of it.
Yeah, I've liked pretty much all of. I mean, even his bad movies aren't really like. I mean, they're still enjoyable because of him. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
The
He
fight
definitely,
scenes usually make up for it.
yeah, yeah,
Nothing else.
definitely, pretty much. So, did you watch anything else besides Jackie Chan? Or
I watched Possessor.
oh, excellent. Okay, cool. What did you think of that one?
It's pretty good. I need to rewatch it, but
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, that was a really weird one. Because and maybe we can elaborate more when all three of us have seen it. And by the way, Nick, I do encourage you to see Possessor if I don't know if you've ever heard of that movie, but it is worth watching.
Is it on Netflix? I think I've vaguely heard of it.
It is available on streaming, but I wouldn't really recommend like renting it on streaming, only because from what I understand, the version that's available on Prime is like edited, and so
I might have a digital code with my
right.
Blu-ray.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
And I have the Blu-ray as well. I'll check to see, like, I mean, I think I don't know, but anyway, well, okay, I have it up here, so let me just grab it real quick.
Oh, really nice.
Yeah, I'm not sure if mine has a digital code in it, but I don't know. We probably shouldn't be talking about this on the podcast, but we could skip by it. I do not see one. So...
Is that the 4K version?
Yeah.
Then I don't have one either.
Mine just comes with this crappy little thing. So, okay, so never mind. Forget everything we just said. But
fine.
Yeah, but it actually is an interesting movie. It is worth seeing. I didn't really like it. This is what it looks like. I didn't really like it, only because like I was sort of confused by the how do I put it? I was sort of confused by just what its intention was. Like I sort of got I got the impression that it was trying to be a movie about like how people become like desensitized to violence and how it kind of like affects what their overall perspective on life is, and how like it can like affect a person's ability to be like sort of in touch with the world around them. But at the same time, like what confused me about it was like it was a movie that was exploring like the desensitization process, and yet the movie itself was such a desensitizing experience. Like the death scenes were so graphic, like where the characters would just get stabbed like 30 times, and it would show these close-ups of the wounds and the blood spurting and stuff. And like, so the film itself, it's so desensitizing that it kind of like, I felt like it sort of negated its own message. But I don't know, maybe that was the intention. Like, I kind of want to rewatch it just to sort of explore that. But yeah.
I'll have to check it out myself. And yeah, the Possessor.
Yeah. Possessor, yeah. It kind of reminds me a little bit of like Black Mirror a little bit. Like picture like Black Mirror, only maybe like only not like a short like hour, but more like 2 hours. Just like picture something like that. And you kind of have an idea. It's really unusual. I don't know. I'd be curious as to what your thoughts of it are, though, because it is like a science fiction movie, and it is sort of about something that's kind of interesting. So,
yeah. And you said the streaming's not good to see?
Well, I mean, there's some question because there's two different versions. There's Possessor, and then there's, which is, I guess, the version that a lot of people have seen. And then there's this uncut version, which I guess is only available like on like physical media, from what I understand, unless I'm mistaken. that some people say is the one that's worth seeing because it shows like the full, like it shows pretty much everything, whereas the version that most people have seen it like actually edits out certain things and like edits out some of the nudity and stuff. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know if like I haven't seen the edited version, so I don't know how much of a difference it makes.
Yeah, me neither.
So but yeah, it's called Possessor Uncut for whatever reason. They gave it a separate title. So
Oh, okay.
yeah. Anyway, have you watched anything in the last couple weeks? Nick?
Most recently I finished, like, because I just started, and then I finally finished my Octopus Teacher
Oh,
on
excellent.
Netflix. That was a great one.
Yeah.
They watched a few documentary type things, just like some YouTube ones, but then I watched that one because I liked it, but I just stopped for like dinner or something and then didn't pick it back up.
Yeah. The good thing about my Octopus Teacher is like you can sit with it. It doesn't have to be the type of movie that you just absorb all in one go. You can kind of take your time with it, watch it in installments or watch it all together, and you can still get just as much out of it either way, I would imagine. So
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah,
yeah,
it was good. Pretty interesting.
Yeah, I was really moved by that one. Just I don't know, just reminds me of like, I don't know, just reminds me a lot of like personal things, I guess. So anyway, well, I mean, I've as far as me, I've been kind of watching. I've been exploring the world of the Kuchar brothers, which means I've watched a few of their movies and I watched the documentary about them. I don't really want to elaborate too much on that because I'll just go on forever. But yeah.
Huh. Never heard
Anyway.
of them.
Yeah. Well, it's pretty weird stuff.
It's that Thundercrack movie.
Oh,
Yes.
the one that was one of them.
Yeah, that's their most controversial movie, which is a 2.5 hour long black and white adult horror comedy that I found pretty interesting. Actually, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it sounded really interesting, so I bought it.
Yeah, it's really bizarre. I definitely weird, but I've been kind of in the mood for more like weird type of movies anyway. So the movie I'm gonna choose for the next episode is a pretty weird one. So
All right.
yeah. But anyway, all right. So should we get started?
Yeah.
All right. All right. So the first film we were going to talk about was the choice that you picked, Zach.
Yeah, I chose
All right.
some Charles Band Full Moon cheesiness.
Yeah.
Evil Bong.
I love it.
Yep. It was exactly what I was expecting.
Yeah. Pretty much.
I was kind of let down, actually, but
Yeah.
Oh, well. I wasn't expecting much, so.
Well,
True.
I was expecting to be let down, so I got exactly what I got. But
maybe
yeah, go on.
I was gonna say maybe I needed to be high to see this, and I wasn't. So
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't either. I should just mention I got nothing against marijuana use. I mean, I think pretty much most people agree that it's like most people agree on its medicinal advantages and stuff. So we don't have to elaborate, but
yeah,
generally speaking, most people I know love marijuana.
Yeah.
But regarding this movie, I mean, it probably is the type of movie you need to be in that state for, because yeah, I mean, I could definitely imagine myself enjoying aspects of this. So
all right, I'm just gonna read the wiki plot like I normally do.
yeah, okay, go for it.
Nerdy college student Alistair McDowell, but don't call him Al.
Mhm.
Yeah.
He doesn't like that.
Yeah.
No.
It is he's your stereotypical nerd, part down the middle of the hair, glasses kind of thing.
Yeah.
All the characters are pretty stereotypical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Moves in with law school dropout Larnell and his current roommates, typical surfer stoner Bachman and former baseball player Brett.
Yeah. So I'll just quickly say that I would have to say that my favorite part of this movie were the early scenes. Like the first 20 minutes or so for me were solid because like the setup, the setup was perfect. You have this kind of, somewhat what do you call it? I don't want to say introverted, but I guess that's what he is. For lack of a better word. College student who really wants to take this science thing seriously, really wants to pursue his hobby and his interest, and he moves into a flat with some laid back fellas who enjoy smoking up a storm.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a golden premise because it's a situation that a lot of people can relate to. It's a situation I certainly can relate to. But furthermore, it's a perfect horror movie setup because you have the character who, the other characters don't expect much from, but then you also have all these other characters that are very classifiable. So it's like, excellent. All right. Got the ball rolling, so let's see what happens next.
Yeah. And it all seemed like they were living in the living room. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. They were all in one room, basically, as far as I could tell. Yeah.
I thought that was weird.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know where the bedroom was.
And I love the surfer stoner stereotypical characters. I don't know why, but they're always hilarious to me.
Yeah.
They're the
This one
best.
was a good one.
I always think about Brad Pitt in True Romance as the dude on the couch. Like to me, that's like the ultimate like stoner surfer dude on the couch, like character ever, because like he gets a gun pointed at him and all he does is go, oh, okay, oh, you want to go that way and then you want to do that, and it's Brad Pitt, which makes it even better. And I'm just like, oh my god. Like I love True Romance like for so many different reasons, but that like Brad Pitt as the stoner on the couch, just to me, that made the movie.
Yeah.
As if Gary Oldman didn't already like bring that movie into like ultimate supremacy. Brad Pitt just pushed it along a little bit, and James Gandolfini definitely helped as well. So yeah. True Romance is such a great movie. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Dennis Hopper. All right. Anyway, sorry. Go on.
Okay. It's a better movie, so.
Yeah.
When Larnell sees an ad for a large bong that the previous owner claims was possessed, he responds. And they found this in High Times on the cover, apparently.
Yeah.
So weird.
Although one thing I will say is that this movie did kind of predict the future a little bit, because once cannabis became legalized, I've been to Colorado multiple times, and they actually do have quite a few sort of locally operated type of like newsletters and stuff of people who just literally all they do is just talk about marijuana, and like, yeah, it's actually pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's here in California too.
Yeah, it is starting to kind of become a thing in the New England region, but we're taking our time with it. I mean, that's the thing. We like to see how other states do first. We like to sort of observe. I've noticed that. We like to kind of look on the outside and then just sort of make like one decision after another rather than a bunch of decisions at once. It's just kind of interesting. So,
yeah. I like how it's like a lot less taboo now than it was in this movie.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Was
Which
funny.
I think, yeah, I think that's kind of one of the things that made this movie satisfying was that this, or interesting was that this movie was it came out during a time in which, marijuana was actually something of a taboo still, yeah, and so it's just intriguing to kind of see that perspective on it and how like they're kind of just like using it more as like a way of being like shocking and edgy and this and that, almost like a reefer madness type of thing,
Yeah.
which
Yep.
you look at it now and it's pretty lame actually, but it's just kind of intriguing that it's an interesting as far as historical things go. Just I don't know.
Yeah. They receive the bong and start smoking, with the exception of Alistair. Alistair meets Britt's girlfriend, Luann, and her friend Janet, who Alistair develops a crush on, and who also looks like a 40-year-old.
Yeah. Which I guess it's like, I'm guessing maybe the original actor quit and they were just like, all right, well,
Well,
whatever.
Charles Band was just like, that one.
Yeah. Charles
She's-
Band was,
She's blonde. She can get the part.
yeah. Yeah. You act enough like a 19-year-old, just do the best you can. Nobody will watch it anyway, except us.
Yeah. Later that night, Bachman's soul is pulled into the Bong world, which takes the form of a hellish strip club inside Evil Bong.
Yeah. This is about when the movie lost me.
Yeah.
There are exactly two sets: the living
Yeah.
room of that apartment and this strip club.
Yeah. Pretty much.
And everything in the strip club had that weird outline to it.
Oh, that was
Yeah.
so annoying. That
Yeah.
outline. What the fuck?
That
was
ruined it. I mean, I like the thing is like I'm not really into like movies where like you just show like a lot of strippers everywhere and stuff anyway. But like, I mean, but I don't mind them. Like I can tolerate them. But then like when you add like a filter over it, it's just like, what am I even watching? Like why?
Yeah. Like I could have got
We
it.
already
Like,
know.
Yeah.
I could have got it the first time, and that could have gone away. And like, I get it now. Like, you don't need to show it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kept it through the whole thing. We
Pretty
it was clear they didn't need it. I mean, it's
Yeah.
obvious
Yeah.
what was happening. There's no reason for it.
Yeah.
Maybe they thought the audience was too stoned to get it. I don't know.
Yeah,
Good
maybe they were
possibility.
relying on that. I mean, I guess like it's also possible like maybe they were trying to sort of explore like or maybe almost try to make a horror movie about like what it's like to like get too high, because everybody's experienced that, but like that's like maybe for some people it feels like being stuck in a glass bong that has a face that doesn't move. I mean, maybe that's what Charles Band experiences when he's high.
Yeah, maybe.
He's like, oh, fuck. Whoa. Oh, I got to make a horror movie out of this one.
Yeah, whole ass franchise.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Oh, speaking of which, so you caught the little cameo there.
There's a lot of cameos.
Oh, well, yeah, but there was a cameo that was specific to this
Yeah.
show.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. 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 Gotta love a masturbating puppet.
Yeah, it was the ginger dead man. He showed up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was because the other one, there was another masturbating puppet for. Is that from another series you think then too?
Yeah, it's Ooga Booga from Doll Graveyard.
Okay.
Yeah. And then also Tim Thomerson or not Tim Thomerson, but Tim Thomerson, but like what do you call it? Jack Def, who was the character that Tim Thomerson played in Trancers. Yeah, he shows up in this movie too, which is kind of I actually kind of appreciated that because I did grow up with the Trancers movies, sort of, and so it was kind of cool to see Jack Def show up, even though it wasn't really that satisfying. Yeah,
I don't
mean,
know what that is at all.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, it was kind of dumb. So it's I don't know. It's not even worth talking about.
Yeah, there's an. So the next sentence is actually where he meets Ooga Booga and Ivan Burroughs, which apparently Ivan Burroughs is a character in Decadent Evil.
Yeah,
another fucking movie from them.
Yeah, basically,
then,
Charles Band was like, let's make a movie about characters that smoke weed and hallucinate full moon characters.
Yeah. And
I have expected the giant from the Moonbeam picture, Beanstalk, to show up. He comes crashing in. That would have made the movie for me. Like,
awesome.
if he showed up, be like, "Oh, I love little people. Oh, you smell interesting."
Yeah. And the Jack in the Box was from another one of his evil toy movies.
Demonic Toys, which I have seen, and I've also seen a few of the puppets. I've seen the first 1, 2, 3. I think either 3 or 4 Puppet Master movies, and I forget which one it is. But one of them, they fight the Nazis in it.
I think it was like, there's a few of them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's Axis of Evil.
Yeah.
And then
Axis
there's
Rising.
Yeah. I mean, I think it might have been in the third movie. I don't know. It's the only one I remember.
Too many Puppet Master movies.
Yeah. There's way too many. There's like 50 of them or something. I'm just like, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway. But go on. I love how we keep going off topic about the evil Bong, just like the characters throughout the course of the movie. They just go off topic from the plot because they're all stoned all the time. Yeah.
So he meets Ooga Booga and Ivan Burroughs, who warns him to watch himself around the evil Bong. He's introduced to one of the strippers who has skulls on her bra that start biting his neck, killing him. Well,
I didn't get it.
Well, Ooga Booga watches on masturbating.
I mean, at that point, I was like, all right, well, this movie can do whatever it wants, I guess.
Yeah. It's like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah. It's not following any rules, so.
No. The next morning, the other roommates find Bachman dead on the couch. Alistair tells them...
sorry to interrupt again.
Go ahead.
That was another thing I didn't like about the movie, was how the best character gets killed first. Like, why does that have to happen? Like,
that
goddamn it. Like, yeah. I don't understand why horror movies do that. That's happened so many times now.
Oh yeah. Or like the cameos. They just kill off their highest paid person.
Yeah, I guess so. Gary Busey.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Tommy Chong is in this, but he was in it for a good chunk of it, though, at least.
Yeah, he's billed as like the main actor, though.
Probably got that. Yeah,
that's the one thing I will say.
For it, at least.
Yeah, but that is the one thing I will say about this movie, is that, like, regardless of how lowbrow and cheap it was, I still did ultimately enjoy the Tommy Chong material.
Yeah.
Like, because, like, I mean, it's the kind of thing where it kind of like evades rationale. It's just kind of about what it is, and like, there's nothing funnier than watching him like dance around a bunch of breasts or whatever he's doing at the end there.
Yeah.
But anyway, now I'm getting ahead of myself. Go on.
Bachman's dead on the couch. Alistair tells them that it's probably the weed, but Larnell points out they all smoke the weed. Larnell also notices that the Bong has changed. A face has started to appear. The trio hide his body and are nearly caught when Larnell's paralyzed wealthy grandfather, Cyril, comes by to tell Larnell that he just got remarried. Which I think was a...
That was a nice... I thought...
What's that?
Yeah.
I thought that was a funny little bit, because the grandpa was like just roasting them all.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was funny. I enjoyed that.
Later on, the Bong starts speaking to Larnell. To Larnell only, no one else hears, and tempts him to smoke from her, which he does. Pulled into the Bong world, he sees Bachman, who seems to be fine, the Ginger Dead Man, and Cyril. Eventually, a stripper lands Larnell a lap dance, and he's killed in a similar way that Bachman was killed. I think, except it was sharks, the second one.
Yep. Shark titties.
Yeah.
Yeah, which that made a little bit more sense because the first time it was just like she was like rubbing her tits on him, and then he was like, "Oh," and it was like, okay, but then like this time it's like, okay, sharks make a little bit more sense, you know. So
Yeah.
I guess.
Should have been sharks for the first guy because he was a surfer.
Oh,
You
yeah,
see-
what the fuck were they thinking?
that would have made much more sense.
Yeah.
I don't know why they didn't do that.
Yeah.
It would have actually fit the character more, like you said, and it would have been funnier. Because can you imagine that guy
Yeah.
getting eaten by sharks? Like,
Shark titties. Like,
Wow.
yeah, that would have been perfect. They blew such a golden opportunity. I
Wow.
swear,
Wow.
crazy.
Wow.
You know, you get a movie like Evil Bong, and then you don't know what to do with it. Shame,
damn it.
Charles Band. God damn you.
back in the real world, Luann and Janet come over, and the group, again with the exception of Alistair, smokes from the Bong. After Brett and Luann pass out, they wake up in the same strip club, and they're greeted by Jack Attack from Demonic Toys.
Yeah.
And Luann is taken away by the bouncer. Brett is then treated by his ex-girlfriend, Carla Brewster, a stripper in the Bong world. She eventually uses her lip-cupped bra to bite off Brett's genitals, killing him.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Just lips on this one. They probably just ran out of they ran out of ideas. Okay. Sharks, skulls. Fuck, now what?
Well, then wasn't there also like a part in the movie where they were talking about blowjobs, and like one of the characters said something like, oh, there's no such thing as a bad blowjob or whatever, and then one of the characters says, oh, I dispute that. One person had braces and she chomped on my, you know, blah blah blah,
Teeth.
you know, like the type of
teeth
things
like
that
a
guys
piranha,
usually say.
yeah.
Yeah. Like I remember something. So maybe they were trying to kind of connect that idea, and it's like, oh, look at how
I
clever
see.
we're being. Like,
Yeah.
They connected those dots, but not the
Yeah,
shark
yeah.
and the surfer dude.
Well,
That's so more obtuse.
yeah. A little bit of a whoopsie.
Oh, can we also mention how those two passed out? Like the girl was crazy horny, started like dry humping him and stuff.
That was funny.
hilarious.
That was really
Oh my
funny.
God.
I did laugh at that.
It was like a showgirls-esque spasm.
Yeah.
Like humping his leg like a dog.
And jumping on a pogo stick.
Yep.
Like what?
What the fuck?
I
He's
enjoyed
yelling,
that.
I'm
That was
horny,
funny.
I'm horny.
Yeah, that was funny. I mean, it was definitely like a fantasy, but it was funny though. Like, I think a big part of the reason, admittedly, I think a big part of the reason this movie kind of was lost on me has to do with the fact that like I'm not straight. because so many of the jokes were all about like, oh, if you don't do this, you're a fag, or if you don't do this, you're this or that and whatever. And like there was like naked women everywhere, and like women doing this and that. And a lot of the scenes I kind of just felt more like confused and puzzled by. And so I think maybe I wasn't the target audience ultimately, you know, which I hate to say because I am open-minded, you know, and most movies I actually can get behind. And I don't even have a problem with like female nudity or anything. I can admit, even as a gay man, that women are absolutely perfect, as far as the way they look. I mean, the voluptuousness of a woman is one of the most flawless things ever, and so I certainly don't enjoy, or I certainly don't mind looking at like nudity of a woman or anything like that. I think that women look attractive a lot of the time, but I don't get any sort of like emotional or any kind of anything toward it. So when I look at it, it's kind of like what it is. That's all.
I mean, as a straight man for this movie, I was felt the same way. I'm like, what the fuck ever.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Okay.
It seems like very on brand for full moon, just to shove titties in the camera.
Yeah. Okay, good. Okay, so like, all right, that's good. So I feel a little bit more like less confused. Like I don't feel as out of the joke, I guess, so to speak.
Yeah, no, you're not at all.
Okay, good.
It also seems like a very mid 2000s thing to do.
Yeah. I do recall actually like a lot of movies in the mid 2000s having just an insane amount of female nudity in them.
I think that was like the golden age of like the unrated cut on DVD.
Yeah, the Euro trip days.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, like where like a movie would come out in the theater and it'd be a sex comedy and you'd go to see it and the trailer would make it look all scandalous and stuff and you'd see it and there would only be like a couple scenes of like a couple strippers or something. But then when the movie comes out on unrated, there's like a 10-minute long sequence or something like that of like a sex scene or a strip club scene or something that wasn't in the original cut that doesn't really add anything to the movie, but it's there and it's kind of like, oh, interesting, like I think that like even a lot of those National Lampoon movies, like even some of those, like they were maybe only like 30 or 40 seconds longer, but those 30 or 40 seconds would be full of female nudity.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
So yeah, the
Fair
2000s
point, yeah.
were definitely like a high time for that, I guess.
Which another side note, you should check out the unrated cut of Sex Drive. They kind of parody that and like straight up just green screen tits and dong in there.
I'll check it out,
hilarious.
definitely. I'll
Yeah,
definitely see
I
it.
liked that movie too. Yeah, it was a funny one.
That's great.
Where were we?
Let's see. Okay, so the gingerbread or ginger dead. I think something after
That
that.
guy,
Maybe?
she bit off the dude's dick.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, and then
Okay. Meanwhile, when Alistair starts figuring out what's going on, Janet falls prey to the bong and passes out. Jimbo Leary, played by Tommy Chong, enters and proclaims that the bong named Evie is his and has a voodoo curse on it.
I think this is the first time a Wikipedia article has said she falls prey to the bong.
Yeah.
oh, Jesus.
Okay, sorry. I'm still laughing about that sentence. Okay. Anyway.
Once you take enough hits from it, it brings you to the bong world where it kills you. In order to save Janet, Alistair enters the bong world. Meanwhile, Jimbo tries destroying the bong with a hammer, a chainsaw, and resorting to drastic measures, a bomb.
Okay.
EB unleashes a cloud of marijuana smoke, causing Jimbo to pass out.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that makes sense. I think that part
Checks
went
out.
a little. Yeah. All right.
Like when Alistair smoked, he had no effect. Like everyone else was like acting super high and shit. Didn't affect him. She's like, okay,
Yeah.
dude smokes weed for the first time, and
Nope. Didn't
want-
matter.
I mean,
Yeah. He was,
Believe
kept
it
his
or not,
sense-
I do know people where that has happened, where like they insist that they did it for the first time and they felt nothing. So
Yeah, the first
I
time
don't
you
know,
often
maybe.
do. I didn't for the first time when I didn't. Took me a few tries to and I was inhaling.
Yeah.
But it does
Yeah,
happen, yeah. But I mean,
Okay.
Yeah, sometimes it's just a different sort of thing for certain people. So.
but in the context of this movie, it doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, I
It was
agree.
making them fucking act weird in general. Like,
Especially with the
Yeah.
amount of overacting.
yeah.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Because it was like possession too. They like when he was trying to save Janet, she was all acting all fucked up and wouldn't listen to reason, with a male
Yeah.
stripper instead.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
he was fine.
Which,
he was lucid in the bong world, saving her.
Gotta throw a male stripper. You gotta provide something for the ladies, I guess. So.
Yeah, of course, always.
Meanwhile, in the Bong world, EB forces the strippers to seduce Alistair, but he breaks them off. During her search, she bumps into Jack Death. Once he finds a stoned Janet, EB reveals her motives to control the world by turning the air into pot smoke and the oceans into bong water, making everyone massive stoners.
I must have not been paying attention.
Yeah, I didn't catch that either.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much the last part of this movie was just a confusing mess. I mean, I get what they were trying to do with it. They were trying to like do kind of stream of conscious, like, oh, we can do whatever type of like cool world, outrageous, out of control stuff, but like, it's just kind of stupid.
Like Charles Band just like, all right, wrap it up.
Yeah, pretty much. Let's just finish this.
They take vitamins that Jimbo gave them to make them sober again.
Yeah, vitamins.
That's all it took.
Jimbo, who
At least it didn't make them start like puking out at their nose.
yeah. Jimbo, who has just got sucked into the Bong world, tells them to go ahead and escape while he takes care of EB. Jimbo shows EB the time bomb strapped to his chest. He activates the bomb and blows up EB. Back in the real world, the gang has their souls returned and everyone comes back to life. However, Jimbo has apparently been killed along with the Bong, which is now shattered into pieces. The final scene shows that Jimbo is now the king of the Bong world, where he plays with his Hot Wheels on girls' titties.
Yeah.
The ending made it worth it, but
Yeah.
it's about all I have to say.
Yeah, because that was a little sub thing is that they bought the bong from his wife that was clearing out all his shit, and Tommy Chong was like, and she sold my Hot Wheels too.
Yeah. So in the end, like the only character you end up ultimately caring about is Tommy Chong, which you don't even meet him until the end of the movie, and then he gets what he wants. So this movie pretty much, delivers the goods.
No one died.
Oh yeah, nobody died. It was kind of a superfluous event, actually, when you really think about it. It kind of just came across like a bunch of random dudes got stoned in a room and had a weird hallucination, and then the movie ended.
Yep. I mean, well, let's see. Well, I thought one thing I thought was funny too was the grandma. Like they were expected because the Gramps was an old rich dude. Like it was implied that he was gonna get like a hot young wife, but it turns out to just be an old lady, just as old as he is.
And she just sits on the couch and passes out.
Yeah,
that was funny. That was funny. Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Not much else to say about the evil Bong.
There's a random Bill Moseley cameo.
Oh, I like that. I always enjoy seeing Bill Moseley. Like, sometimes I get a little frustrated because he'll like be Bill, or he'll be like, you'll see his name in the like being top billed in a movie where he's like not in it that much. He's one of those actors that sometimes that happens with.
Yeah.
I remember I got really irritated at that movie Homesick, which like actually wasn't that bad a movie. I actually kind of enjoyed it a lot, but I hated the fact that the DVD has Bill Moseley like literally on the front cover, like looking like the main character, and he's only in it for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And also like that, it also kind of bummed me out because it was put out by Synapse Films, which they don't seem like the company that would usually do that type of thing. So it's kind of just a bummer when that happens. But he was actually pretty entertaining in that movie. So, but anyway, I appreciated seeing him in this. You know, I'm never going to complain about Bill Moseley. So.
So what was with those transitions too? You remember? Do you, like,
just
those fucking cuts they had there? It was like, are these ad breaks for like, like what the fuck is this shit?
They're just like,
But when it faded,
we don't know how to transition, so we'll throw these pot leaves up.
Yeah,
it was like a 15-second transition too. It wasn't like, what the fuck
I
are
don't
we
know. I thought
watching
it was. I thought it was pretty fucking lame when I was watching it. I'm like, oh my god, this is stupid. I don't like this at all. This is like, I want this to be like.
They're probably like, they're probably like, it'll distract him from having them not notice that we're using the same set.
Yeah.
So, let's just add like a bunch of random like visual effects, screen graphics and crap that you'd make in graphics art, and just to disguise the fact that there's like nothing we're working with here.
Yep.
The music was sort of catchy. I mean, it was all like music about people singing about weed, and that's pretty much it. Like, not much to really say about this one beyond the fact that it was, just kind of dumb.
Yeah.
Sums it up. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. What would you guys give it?
1.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1.
Yeah. Me too. 1. It's, I don't know. I'm surprised there's sequels, to be honest.
Yeah, 7 of them.
Where else can you? Yeah, 7
Fuck,
sequels
7?
to Evil Bong, like that. Like to me, that right there seems almost like the something that somebody would come up with while they were really like, oh, wouldn't it be funny if somebody made an Evil Bong movie and then somebody made 7 sequels? Like that's like. I mean, where can you even go with this? Like,
apparently a lot of places.
I guess so. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I'll ever watch those. It's hard to really. I don't even really know like how to feel about this. To be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I have the box set of them all, so I'm gonna watch them eventually.
Oh, okay.
Oh, nice.
Maybe I'll marathon them on 420 or something.
Yeah. Hey, maybe that's what they're made for. I don't know.
I think that is it. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe one of them is like gay themed or something. I'll check that one out.
It might be.
It's a good chance. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Shit. Apparently, there's gonna be a 9th one this year.
A 9th Evil Bong.
It's called the Ginger Weed Man.
Oh no!
Ginger weed.
Apparently.
What is going on? I didn't know this was like a whole cinematic universe.
Yeah. Because there's Ginger Dead Man versus Evil Bong, which is the 4th one.
Yeah.
Oh fuck! Wow.
There's so many Evil Bongs. There's so many Evil Bongs. And also, like, I'm sorry to keep talking about this movie, but like, why would somebody even want to buy a used bong in the first place? When you really think about it, like, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense.
That's a good question too.
I mean, yeah, if you have a bong and it works fine, you're not going to want to get a new one. Like, you're not going to want to get, or not a used one. I mean, like, you're not going to want to get like a random bong if you have one that works perfectly fine already. So it just seems kind of like the plot doesn't even really make sense when you actually stop and think.
No
like,
one, what?
Yeah,
That'd be gross anyway. 'Cause...
yeah. And also, like, let alone Tommy Chong. Why would you buy a used bong from Tommy Chong? Ugh.
Yeah.
Like, no thanks. Yeah. Yeah. God. Yeah. Fuck this movie. Gosh.
Yeah, right? That was so dumb.
Yeah.
Just
Flush
pure
it down the
stupidity.
toilet. Yeah. I'll watch the sequels, though. I'll watch the sequels.
Now that I know that it's a cinematic universe, I might have to.
Yeah. Well, how many Ginger Dead Dead Man movies are there?
I think including Ginger Dead Man versus Evil Bong, I think only 4.
4. Okay. So if you combine 4 Ginger Dead Man movies and not 9 altogether, right? Evil Bong movies. Or no, actually, technically it would be 8 because one of them is technically a Ginger Dead Man. So 4 plus 8. So that's 12 movies. So all they need is how many more to top the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
A lot. I think there's 22 MCU movies.
Okay, 22. All right.
But
So
would you count demonic toys and trancers and stuff too, since they're technically in this movie for a little bit?
oh yeah, and Doll Man.
I mean, especially if they're in other evil bongs, and I don't know how far it goes with the crossover shit. With all
There's
of it,
so many crossovers, dude. So many crossovers, and we haven't even talked about the fact that Demonic Toys has been combined with Puppet Masters. If you add the Puppet Masters movies,
Okay, then yeah,
then
totally.
we have a bigger cinematic universe here than
full
the
moon
Marvel
universe.
Cinematic Universe, the full moon
Yeah,
universe.
okay.
Yeah, we've
Shit.
come full circle on the full moon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's bigger.
Yeah.
Bigger.
It's a beautiful thing. All right,
Okay.
so are you fellas all bonged out by Evil Bong?
Yes.
For now.
Yeah. Okay,
For
cool.
now.
Yeah. Perhaps we'll revisit the series, but perhaps not. You know,
Maybe a 420 episode or something.
Yeah.
I'd be into it. Yeah. I'll even
Yeah.
rewatch the first one. Why not?
I don't know if I'd go that far, but
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
I don't know. Maybe I'll watch like a review of it or something. I don't know. Some of the people on YouTube were pretty funny, so
Yeah.
I'll find somebody else's opinion and I'll just laugh at theirs.
sure, like Red Letter Media or someone's already covered it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Probably covered
probably.
a few of them.
Yeah. I mean, hell, we could just listen to this episode again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah. But okay, so the next movie that we are going to talk about was your choice, Nick, which is quite different from Evil Bong. You know, I just want to add.
Yeah. Yeah. It is.
Yeah.
It is College Road Trip. It is a Disney film. Disney road trip film, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Starring Martin Lawrence and Raven Simone.
Yeah. Which I guess one thing I will say just real quick is that the idea of Martin Lawrence in a Disney movie already is kind of an unusual idea.
Yeah.
And so I actually was genuinely curious about this movie when I watched it, just to kind of see how is that even possible? Martin Lawrence?
Mhm. I mean, he plays a cop, unsurprisingly.
Yeah. Which I appreciated at least. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they had to have cast him just for that, probably. I don't know. I can't. Anyway,
I
yeah,
mean,
he
I
plays.
always, you see, it's weird because the first thing I ever think of when I think of him is his performance in House Party. Like, I don't even know why, but like he plays this character. He's one of the friends of the duo there. What is it? Kid and Play? Yeah, Kid and Play. He's like a buddy of theirs, and sort of the running gag of the movie is that he has bad breath. And so they keep calling him Dragon Breath, I think it is, or something like that.
Oh, really?
And so whenever I think of Martin Lawrence, I think of him in that. And then the second thing I think of him is Big Mama's house.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
I had to watch that movie a dozen times because there was this kid I was babysitting who was obsessed with it. And let me tell you, like, I could probably recite every single Martin Lawrence line in that entire movie. Like, it's ridiculous. But anyway, so my sort of perspective on Martin Lawrence is like, I mean, I don't immediately think of Bad Boys, I guess is what I'm trying to say, even though I probably should, because that's probably his best known work.
That's what I immediately think of.
Yeah. Yeah.
I see Blue Streak. It's the other one I can really think of.
Yeah. I mean, I'm the same way with Denzel Washington and a lot of other actors of that type who, you know, a lot of people tend to kind of like pigeonhole. Like a lot of people, when they think of Denzel Washington, they think of Training Day.
Mhm.
But I always think of some of his like more versatile, kind of like unusual types of roles. You know, like I tend to associate him with like Mo Better Blues, the Spike Lee movie, and things like that. You know, and then Brandon Lee is another one. Like I always think of like Gods and Monsters rather than his comedies. I don't know why. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so
yeah, he's definitely typecast. I feel Martin Lawrence, but
yeah, definitely.
So yeah, this is a movie about him being a cop, dad, overprotective, stereotypical type of his daughter, who's played by Raven. She's going off to college. You know, he planned this out when she was born, which college she was gonna go to before she even had any say in it, because it was close. And, you know, he could keep an eye on her, keep her protected and whatnot.
Yeah,
but
the film kind of makes a sort of running joke out of how overprotective he is. You know, that he kind of planned out her whole life for her.
Yep, she's is apparently pretty smart. She wants to go into law.
Yeah,
she wants to go to That's her choice, is Georgetown in DC.
Yeah, and she actually does show a lot of like integrity regarding like what the law means and like following rules and stuff. You know, like she is like generally like a good person, even though she wants to kind of have her freedom. You know, like she does like she does kind of encourage the whole like law abiding like persona, I guess you would call it. So
yeah, she's a pretty smart cookie.
Yeah.
Then there's like the pig.
Yes, there's a pig.
It's a Disney movie. They have a like half CG
you gotta have
pig for some of the scenes, and like
you gotta have a cute little pig, you know, to be the animal mascot.
Yep, so, a little genius brother of some sort.
Yeah, the best character.
Yeah, arguably.
I mean, you know, you guys know me well enough, but of course, you know, that's the character I'm gonna immediately, you know, appreciate the most about this kind of thing, because I mean, you know, because like to me, like, okay, so you have a movie that's about a parent, right? And to me, like, he's kind of hyper focusing on his daughter. He's overprotective of her and her future and her best interests, which is understandable, you know, because he's a cop, and you know, he's a little bit paranoid, and so he, you know, monitors her every move, you know. But then as an end result, you have a younger sibling who ends up having to kind of carry the brunt of that, because obviously he, you know, is neglected, you know, and doesn't get the same degree of attention that his sister gets, and so therefore he kind of has the freedom to kind of pursue his own interests, which are way beyond anything that the other characters are doing. So he's the misfit of the family. So, you know, I'm immediately going to be like, okay, he's the most interesting character.
Yeah, he's playing chess with that pig.
Yeah. I mean, he even teaches it how to use the toilet. Yep. I mean, that's pretty impressive, because anybody who's worked with pigs will know that pigs like don't have a very good idea on like how to even like begin when it comes to like monitoring their own, you know, expulsions. They'll just do it whenever. I'm not trying to be vulgar, but pigs are known for being spontaneous animals. So it's impressive to me that he's able to potty train a pig.
Yeah, I mean they're pretty smart animals. I've heard, like as smart
Oh,
as
they're
dogs.
extremely
So,
intelligent. Extremely intelligent.
yeah. So anyway, she gets an opportunity to interview at Georgetown after I don't know, some debate. Like some high school debate team thing. It was her defending the big bad wolf. This was my gathering. She defended the big bad wolf in a high school trial against the three little
Yeah.
pigs and won.
Yeah. This is interesting. It's like,
Yeah.
ooh, okay. So, she understands the logistics of the system. She understands like the, I mean, I understand that to a certain degree, it all comes down to a matter of perspective, but she
Yep.
understands that if you can't prove that something happened, you have no case. She understands
Yeah.
that basic element of law. So,
Yeah, and
and
like the
that's
dad
important.
and and like right after it was like the Martin Lawrence said her, well, he was guilty, right? Because he is a cop, and that's cops
Yeah.
notoriously don't like defense attorneys.
Yeah,
And then
exactly.
she
And
came
his
back with some
instinct.
type of quip. Yeah, she
Yeah.
came back with
Like,
some type of quip, like, oh, that's not my job, or something
yeah.
like that.
Yeah. If you can't prove it, you can't prove it. I mean,
Yep.
you
Yeah,
know,
it's innocence.
yeah. And
So
I know a lot of people who are going into law enforcement who are trying to kind of be mindful of that fact, but it's something that even a lot of people who are our age have trouble comprehending. So the fact that she is able to sort of understand those dimensions, it says a lot about her character. So I mean, it
yeah,
just shows how different she is from her dad, since he is so instinctual as a father and as a officer of the law. So
yeah. Well, then so she does get this opportunity to apply to Georgetown, and the college road trip ensues. The first thing that was she was gonna go with her friends, but I don't know. Word came to the dad that they were gonna be staying at a sorority. I think that's why he stepped in. He just wanted
yeah,
to be monitoring her the whole time,
pretty
but
much. And
also he
oh
wanted to
yeah,
start planting seeds of not her wanting not to go there, doing like make sure she might change her mind and stuff. Little road trip hazards or whatever you want to call them.
yeah, he was trying to strategize a way to dissuade her. Which her mom, his wife was trying to counteract. Which I like
Yeah,
the fact
before
that
they left. Yeah.
yeah, and I like the fact that they chose to kind of include her. Like I like the fact that she was included in the plight, so to speak, because I do feel like she did have something of a say as to what her daughter's future would look like, and so like to me, I think that it was cool to sort of establish that key element, like even though it wasn't really necessary. I did appreciate the fact that they sort of showed that. So
Yeah, it was, the mom wanting her daughter to be her own person, and overprotective dad, and
yeah,
everyone knew it. Like even like when they when they finally showed up at like their grandparents' house, like they all freaked out.
yeah,
It's my son! Ah, the crazy overprotective one, and they all like fucking
yeah.
scattered as they were doing a tango.
Yeah, that was so random.
Hmm.
I was like, okay, cool. Guess you gotta have
So
some kind of movement in this movie other than
yeah,
driving and arguing, because
yeah.
there wasn't a whole lot else going on.
Yep. Yep. So I guess the first trap set by Martin Lawrence would have been him taking her on a side tour to Northwestern, which was like, whatever, 40 minutes away from
Yeah,
them. And she's been there already, apparently. Like, I've seen it. And he's like, not
yeah,
like this or something. So they go again. He plants like some good looking, nice dude, like, was apparently one of his rookie officers or something there. And then she figures it out because he slips up and calls him anything for whatever chief's daughter or something like that. He messes up. Apparently,
yeah,
everybody he got acting in this charade because
Yeah.
she found out and told him off, and then like it was like all the background actors kind of like looked around and said, "Oh, she knows, go home, whatever," and then they do. So he got a lot of favors called in just for that one little trick.
Yeah. That
Didn't
was
work.
yeah, it ended up being a misguided venture, just kind of led to pretty much the exact opposite of what he wanted to have happen. So
Yep. And that's when I was like, oh, it's gonna be. I didn't really necessarily think he was gonna pull these kind of tricks. I was like, oh, it's gonna be a.
yeah.
I thought it was gonna even be more combative than it was, because like when she realized it, she said, "Oh, it's on." Thought maybe
Yeah.
they might do pranks back and forth or something, maybe, but no, it wasn't really that involved.
Yeah, it ended up kind of being pretty like vanilla. That
Mhm.
was probably the most disappointing thing about it. Is that like I actually do think that there was some pretty good comedic potential here with the premise. But then
Yeah, it's
yeah.
ultimately, I feel hurt by that it was a Disney movie, because if you're doing the plot of a college, like an almost college kid, you can't really. I mean, they didn't really do any comedy towards that age range, really.
Not at
There
all.
wasn't. It was all more kids stuff, and it just seems like a weird kids movie to watch
Yeah.
for
Well, like
like
the
subject
thing is
matter
like
wise.
the thing is it doesn't really make sense to make a movie about college that's for kids because
Yeah, that's what I
when
would like. My question I had was like, well, who is this trying to? What's the target audience of this movie? It's
that's the
kid. Like
thing
the
there's
subject says kids, but like the plot and stuff, you'd think it would be like at least teenagers of some sort, but no comedy
yeah
for them.
I mean like when you're a kid like I mean the thing that sucks about growing up is the fact that you're constantly reminded of the fact that you're a kid and the fact that you're not allowed to do things. And so when you reach adulthood and you become somebody who's college age, the first thing you want to do when you go to college is do the things that you weren't allowed to do when you were a kid. So why would you make a kids movie that's about college? There's nothing you can really do with it.
Yeah, it's like they go to a party, but
Yeah.
there's
Where
nothing
but there's
bad
no
involved.
drinking. There's
Yeah,
no drinking. It's just literally people dancing
yeah.
to music that has like a little bit of heavy bass, I guess. Maybe I mean I don't know. Can a movie get a PG rating for heavy bass? This movie gets a G rating, so
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, maybe that's objectionable content if the bass is like kind of too rhythmatic because like the rhythm kind of reminds people of the lambada or something like maybe I mean I don't know like it's a reach but that's the only conclusion I can come to. I mean like that's the only risk they could have really taken with that, so
Hmm. Yeah, they took zero risks.
yeah.
um, the road
Raven
trip goes.
Simone, yeah, go on.
No, it's okay. Yeah, sorry. The road trip goes on. Um, they eventually the Martin Lawrence uses a cop GPS or a police GPS called
Yeah.
PGIPS. PG keeps calling it
Peaches.
PGIPS. And
It's like,
Raven's like,
okay,
why don't you
fine.
just call it police GPS? He's like, no, it's PGIPS. And it had a little smart. I don't know. There was this dumb little scene of them driving through the woods.
Yeah.
They find the little brothers because they eventually blow a tire, and they find the little
Mm.
brother in the back. He's
Yeah.
he's in like a container with an oxygen tank,
Yeah.
and the
I mean, like, yeah, that I mean, I didn't see that coming, I will admit, but at the same time I should have, because it's like that was
yeah, yep,
I mean, up until that point of the movie, that was pretty much one of the only things this movie had going for it. That and the mother, like, were the only characters that were like even slightly, involving. And so to kind of have him show up in on the road trip, like, it did ultimately improve the movie, I guess, because like after that, there is a little bit more, I guess, tension, so to speak. because there's more characters.
Yep. And so during him trying to replace the tire, he accidentally jacks it up too far, and it rolls off a cliff and destroys it. And
Yeah.
they would have killed his son if
Yeah.
they never found him in that fucking safe that he was in. I was like, oh, your son
That would have
would've
been messed up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was my first reaction to it. But
Yeah. Kind
what can
of
you do?
actually
Disney, they saved him.
kind of terrified me, to be honest. It was like the one I was like, oh man, car. But I think because again, I just think about car related like accidents and like situations where people have been killed in these horrible ways, and I'm like, oh, would have been a bad way to go.
Yep.
So that was probably the scariest thing going on in this movie, like,
Yeah.
or the most
The
like
most
I guess,
action was there.
intense. Yeah,
Yeah.
was a car rolling off. Yeah. Anyway.
So next scene is them at a hotel. Now fucking they walk to it. It was like nothing too much interesting. The pig eats some coffee and goes hog wild.
Yeah, it's kind of cute.
And that was the CG part. The pig was like total
Yeah.
CG in that.
Yeah.
He crashes a wedding. Disney style, just lots of food flying everywhere and shit.
Yeah. Lots of smiles, lots of like, oh, crazy like reactions, and the camera makes sure to very clearly show each person's expression, because Disney really wants to get the feelings going, like show as much emotions as possible, just to kind of cover up the fact that there's no plot.
Yeah. There really isn't any, and it's
like
so hard to.
Yeah, it's hard to kind of like say much about this movie, really, like beyond just sort of the series of events that are quirky and unusual.
Yeah. I mean, the next thing would be that they got a bus. Like, is that, I forget if that's how it happened next, but they get on
they get on a bus.
a
Yeah,
bus. She secures some bus seats on like one of those Asian tour buses.
Yeah.
Which leads to the stupidest scene again. They just a music video.
Yeah,
It was a music
basically.
video, I assume.
It was.
Because the cuts of like Martin Lawrence wasn't in it at all. They cut and he's just clapping, and it was just like her busting out into dance and with all these Asian bus people. I don't know.
Yeah. And like,
so this was it was the worst part for me, is because one of the little, I don't know, nuggets of touchingness or whatever was like, oh, the song she sang for this thing was a song that her and Martin Lawrence sang as children, right? Like,
that was their like bonding moment that never got talked about at any point.
It was mentioned right in the beginning because he had the go bag and they had it in. Yeah.
They didn't say what it was though or anything. It was like,
and then the thing was like they sang it together, and you'd assume that if they use this mechanic, they would sing together in the final one too. But no, it was her busting out into a music video, and Martin Lawrence was just clapping, and like he didn't sing at all with her at it, so like it totally undercuts that point of them singing together.
I thought it sucked, honestly.
It was awful. It was awful.
I was like, what the hell? This is some bullshit. Like, I did not want this movie to go in this direction. I don't give a crap about what this girl. Like, this girl doesn't need her dad's approval. Like, she's at the point where she can make her own decisions. Like, why does it even matter? Why does it even matter? Like, he hasn't earned that at that point. We've spent the whole movie watching him be obnoxious, and so then like she has to indulge him with this bullshit. No, like, no, I hate that. That's garbage.
It's fucking dumb. Yeah,
it's like,
and
yeah,
it works.
no thanks. Yeah, click, off goes the receiver or whatever channel. Like, that's the point that I would get to. I wouldn't show this movie to my family. Yeah.
No, it was awful. Like,
Yeah.
and then it works too, because like she was
Yeah.
hiding stuff from him, like because he was pissed off at her,
Mm.
which is what incited the music video, because she's
Yeah.
deciding that she has to take a semester in Japan. But then she
Yeah.
puts on a music video, and then everything's all nice, and they're talking.
Yeah. All is
Talking,
forgiven
you know.
because she reminds him that she can sing
Yeah,
and
dumb.
dance.
It's so fucking bad.
Yeah, I don't know. Didn't get it. Sorry. I mean, it's just not an idea I can relate to. I just like, to me, it doesn't matter like what sentiments are involved in whatever relationship. Like, what matters is that she has a goal, and he's getting in her way.
Yep.
Like, I don't even know how else to say it.
Yeah, and the thing is, even after that turning point when they had a real conversation, he still starts fucking up, because the next,
It
like,
just goes
I
back
guess,
to being what it was before.
yeah, because the next
Mm.
plot points are that they're staying at, like, the Martin Lawrence's mother's, and she's going
Yeah.
off with her friends, which she was originally going to be in the area for with them at a sorority of, like, I don't know, their cousins or something, one of her friends' cousins or sister or something.
Yeah.
So he calls her up to check on her, but it was so fucking stupid. A deep voiced girl, just a deep voiced girl picks up and says, I don't know. I don't know. She's in the shower. And
Like, I don't
which,
even know.
which prompts him to fucking break into the sorority, like
Mm.
resetting that whole scene of fucking stupidity. And
I would also, like, I would imagine that scene probably doesn't sit too well these days with the fact, like, because I mean, like, considering that, like, there have been, like, there has been an influx of, like, a lot of sort of social and societal
yeah,
issues with, like, trans people, and um what constitutes, like, what does it mean to be a woman versus what does it mean to be a man and stuff. And so, like, associating, like, a deep voiced person with a man, like, I'm just saying, like, in the future, this movie, like, that joke will probably not make a whole lot of sense. Like, it didn't even really make a whole lot of sense in the first place.
Yeah,
So,
that same exact thought crossed my mind when it happened. I was like,
yeah.
oh, okay, this is a little dated for sure.
Yeah.
I felt
It was lost on me. And, like, I mean, there were a lot of things that were lost on me in this movie, but that was like that took me, like, a good, like, 5 minutes to even figure out, like.
yeah.
So,
I mean, he gets caught afterwards because he falls asleep under the bed, gets thrown in
yeah,
jail.
it's like the laziest plot point.
Yep.
Or plot. Like, at that point, they're just trying to create conflict.
Mm-hmm. There was no need for it. It was just extending the movie.
Yeah.
Which inevitably makes them miss their flight.
Yeah.
And
It's
whatever.
like, oh, great. Now we have
okay.
this shit to deal with. By the way, Zach, I can't help but notice you haven't said anything. You're curiously quiet,
Yeah.
which, I mean, you are a quiet person, which I understand why, because, you like to, you have, when you say something, you want it to be something that's necessary. And, I find that really valuable, but I'm noticing that you are very, very quiet when it comes to this movie. And
Yeah.
I am curious, like, what are your thoughts on it?
Overall, I hated it.
Yeah,
Like, it's not that it's like a bad movie. It's just not directed towards us.
Yeah,
yeah.
pretty much.
Yep.
And it's just full of tropes that we've all seen before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The G-rated road trip tropes.
The G-rated comedy that takes no chances and does nothing.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, the last little set piece would be that they
spoilers, by the way. I mean, we already spoiled the shit out of Evil Bong, but I don't think anybody cares about that movie. So. Anyway, go on.
Yeah, they Martin Lawrence uses I don't know, police power. He just says, "Let's get a ride with these divers," and they
Yeah.
insinuate that it's like an Olympic diving team in the water, but
Mm,
it turns out no, they're skydivers.
yeah.
Which okay, there's also one thing that I fucking hated about this movie was there was so much screaming. Everybody,
Yeah.
they were like, oh, there's so much screaming. Like when the
There
girls were
is a
dancing
lot.
around and stuff during the sorority, they were like, girls don't do that. I'm pretty sure they just
No.
don't screaming and shit.
No, I agree. Like, I don't know why there was so much screaming. I couldn't figure that out. Like,
Yeah.
there was a point where I was like, okay, like, why does there have to be this kind of emotion, like this degree of like distress over like
Everything.
everything?
That's-
Every little thing.
It's probably the views of the middle-aged dudes who wrote it.
Probably.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they're so afraid of their daughters growing up that they're like, oh, let's just write a movie about how like upset we are.
And like even the
You know?
credits, the credits were like a picture book type thing, whatever, the end credits.
Yeah.
And half of the pictures were people screaming. Like over half. Like
Yeah.
they couldn't get any other screenshots besides
Yeah.
like the pictures of a pig and people screaming. That's all they had in
Pretty
that like
much.
slideshow. I was
Yeah.
like, okay.
Yeah. I mean,
So yeah, I mean
You
the
know,
movie ends with
yeah.
them. I mean the movie ends with them parachuting.
yeah,
out
they
and
make
getting-
good.
they make it to the meeting because they parachute.
Yeah.
Whatever. She gets in. Whatever.
Yeah. It's basically a movie about a father learning to tolerate the fact that his daughter is her own person, and that's pretty much it.
Mm-hmm. Dumb.
Pretty lame. I mean, not my kind of movie. I can certainly
No.
appreciate I can certainly appreciate the idea that many fathers and many men are concerned about their daughter's well-being. I can definitely appreciate that in a number of profound ways, and I can certainly also understand why like an idea like this may appeal to somebody like that. But having said that, if a father is feeling a lot of fears about his daughter's future and the kinds of decisions that she's going to make, it would actually make more sense to make a more honest movie rather than a movie like College Road Trip, which
Yeah.
takes no chances, says nothing new, and doesn't do anybody any favors about
Yeah.
trying to depict the future of a college student trying to make it on her own. The film doesn't delve into that whatsoever. Instead, it opts for a lot of cheap gags where Martin Lawrence gets tied into these stupid situations with Raven Simone, who, let's face it, she's just phoning it in. She's getting the Disney money, so she doesn't have to do
Mhm.
anything. And the end result is a movie that makes a lot of noise but says nothing. It's a very hollow movie that seems really more out of touch with what it means to be a father than anything else. And the real tragedy is that there actually is something to say for something like that. I think that movies about teenage girls, they're hard to make because no matter what, they're going to be controversial. I mean, I can remember when the movie 13 came out, which in my opinion, that's a very valuable movie. And I think that that's an ideal movie for a mother, for example, to watch with her daughter. I remember when that movie came out, like newspapers were calling it pornography, which is like completely stupid. And we're still
Mhm.
seeing examples of that kind of thing happening today. There was a recent French movie that came out last year, which I'm not going to say the title of because I don't want to,
Oh,
get
yeah.
on anybody's radar. But people reacted the exact same way to that movie that they did to the movie 13. I remember when Diary of a Teenage Girl or whatever that movie was, when that movie came out, people reacted to that calling it pornography. I think that it is hard to be honest about a subject like this. You know, it is hard to be honest about, you know, the coming of age of a girl, because it's a difficult subject. And let's face it, a lot of parents are out of touch with what it means to be a teenage girl, you know? So I do think that there is value in making a movie like this, but making a G-rated Disney movie about a girl going to college is not the way to do it.
Yep. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's just that it's hampered by it being a Disney. It's a Disney movie for sure. Like
Yes.
you can't really do that and do both. If I mean they could, but they don't want to, of course.
Yeah, pretty much. And you know it. And what's especially disappointing is the fact that both Martin Lawrence and Raven Simone are actually relatively talented people. You know, and so their talents are essentially wasted on a nothing movie. So, but having said that, I am still glad that I saw it. You know, and oddly enough, I do. In a weird way, this actually might be my favorite movie that we're watching on this episode. So,
oddly enough, yes, and I did not like this.
Yeah,
like I was like when I started it up, I was like, why did I pick this movie? I was like, why? I don't, because I generally I mean, I know why, because I just randomly chose it, but like, I was like, I did not put any thought into this. Like, this is gonna be bad. The first 5 minutes, I was like, why did I do this to myself?
You know, well, and
it's still the best of the three, honestly, probably.
Honest, I hate to say it, but like in my opinion, yeah, like, which we'll talk about Druids in a minute. You know, spoiler. I mean, we already know what I chose, but you know, we will talk about Druids in a minute, and I will elaborate on what my issues are with that movie. You know, but of the 3 films on this episode, this is the one that I found the most appealing, and that's a shame because it's really not any good. I mean, I would only give it a 2 out of 10 because I did enjoy The Little Brother. I mean, I'm always going to enjoy a little brother in a movie. You know, it's just how it goes. But regardless, it's still a crap movie, and I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. So, and I also enjoyed the pig. You know, I didn't like the CGI, but I enjoyed the pig, and I enjoyed the mother. I mean, there were tiny little things about this movie that I appreciated, but nothing got expanded upon. So
I liked the pig, but I wanted him to fuck with the dad more. I thought they were going to do that.
Yeah, because another wasted opportunity.
The pig, the first couple of times, the pig was just fucking with the dad. Like, he was giving him like the side eye, and dad was like, "Oh, look at him do that!" And then the mom turns around, and the pig goes around the corner. And like it happened, he was watching the security cameras of his house for creepy reasons, and the pig is just staring into the camera.
Yeah,
I wanted the pig to fuck with the dad more, but once they're on the road, it's just an annoying pig, an annoying Disney pig. It's like, oh, it's wasted.
Yeah, like animal mascot that just is there to be a mascot and nothing more. You know. Like,
so I'd give it a 1.5 just to put it above Bong movie. But it's really not much worth. Yeah, it's definitely not worth seeing.
Yeah,
I'll give it a 1. I'm gonna be the complete opposite of you guys. It's on the bottom of my list for this episode.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, I can understand and respect that too. But yeah.
Yeah. Definitely.
I was gonna say we never mentioned how fucking annoying Donny Osmond was.
Oh right. Yeah. That fucking whole bit was so bad.
Like, why was that even
a little creepy too at some points?
Yeah. I just didn't.
He was to let the listeners know, he's another father, and that was going on like a college road trip with his daughter.
Yeah,
that were both really annoying characters.
Just sang the whole time, popping up out of nowhere.
Yep,
pretty much. Yeah,
and then they end up being not roommates but neighbors in Georgetown. Like the daughters, both daughters, and like, what the fuck does that mean? You usually have it like, unless you're, I mean, I guess I don't know fancy colleges, but you usually have roommates first, especially freshman year. You don't get like your own room unless you're like an RA most of the time. Is
that was my understanding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but they're neighbors instead, which is not that bad. You can close your door, whatever.
Mhm.
It's implied that she's gonna be annoyed the whole time, but like the last scene is them coming back at Thanksgiving, and they seem to be friends, good friends now, like
Yeah,
boyfriends. Which is stupid fucking.
it was
Another
so
thing
dumb. I
like
was just like,
was
ugh.
the last little bit was like, oh, it's yeah, she's bringing over a friend Tracy that they're going to Japan with. Turns out
Yeah,
Tracy's a guy. Another little probably didn't age that well joke.
yeah, not really. I mean, I think men already get like crapped on enough for like being friends with women like a lot of the times in these types of movies, and like I don't know, these days it just
I
comes
mean, were
across
they
as just
friends or
increasingly
like
out of touch. Like
yeah,
what?
but were they friends or like actually boyfriend girlfriend? Because I know the other like Donny Osmond's daughter and she brought a boyfriend back as well, and they they got engaged right there.
Oh yeah. Well, oh yeah, that was funny. I'd like to think that they were an item. I'd like to think that they were
Yeah,
boyfriend
that's
and
what I thought.
girlfriend because I like the idea of like the Raven Simone character actually like becoming her own person and doing her own thing. So
Yeah,
that's kind of what I was hoping for, but I wasn't sure if that was what the movie was going for or not. Like I don't know, it just seemed kind of clueless.
yeah, it was. It was
Like
dumb.
yeah, I don't know. Just felt like it was written by people who just don't remember what it was like to go to college and was like, oh, I guess let's make a Martin Lawrence comedy then, like where nothing happens.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
but anyway, which brings me to my choice, which was the 2001, I believe, Christopher Lambert epic. It turns out, Druids, aka the Gaul, aka Vercingetorix.
Then the name of it was also Vercingetorix of the movie, or is
Yeah, it's another
because
alternate
I know I
title, it
saw
turns
the
out.
Gaul. I thought the Gaul. I
Yeah,
saw the Gaul as an alternate
yeah,
title, but okay.
yeah. It turns out Vercingetorix is also an alternate title. So.
So like
But
one of the questions just going into this I had was, is Gaul, is this real? Is this fantasy? I didn't really, but I
it's
mean,
real. It
yeah,
is real actually,
I've
and
realized that
believe
by the end,
yeah,
yeah, because they kind of
yeah.
make it pretty clear.
Yeah, this is a point in history that I actually am familiar with. And actually, when I chose this movie, I think I said on the last podcast that I thought that it was about the Crusades. I don't know why I thought it was about that. It's not about that at all. It's actually like Roman Empire shit, which, ooh, okay, yeah. Now this is my bag, you know. So starting this movie, like that aspect is immediately established. Christopher Lambert is playing this guy who, well, okay, I guess. All right, to summarize this movie, it's basically a very extensive revenge plot that ends up not really succeeding. And it is based on a real story about somebody who actually went as far as becoming king in order to take out this particular person who was involved in the destruction of essentially his entire village and his entire I guess heritage, so to speak.
Mhm.
But in the end he ends up getting tons and tons of people killed for it, and he ends up surrendering and then getting put to death. And that's kind of it. Like that's basically the whole
Spoilers.
movie. Yeah, I mean, yeah. So
Yeah,
kind
I
of.
did not realize because on like up until the very end, I wasn't because wasn't sure if it was real because it had to do with druids.
Yeah.
Those have a mystical quality to them. Like the first
Yeah.
scenes were kind of magical-ish.
Yeah. Well, it turns out that there is only one druid in this movie, and that is Max von Sydow, who ends up actually being pretty much the only actor other than Christopher Lambert, in my opinion, who decides to actually kind of have fun with the material and camp it up and give a really sarcastic performance. He's only in the movie for about 5 or 6 minutes. He's really not in it very much. But I did a spit take while I was watching this movie when his name appeared in the opening credits. I did a spit take because Max von Sydow is one of my favorite actors, and I had no clue that he was in this movie.
Oh,
so I
really?
was like
Nice.
super stoked. I was like, oh my god, I can't believe it! Oh, Max von Sydow! But then he shows up and he plays some crazy dude with long hair, going nut. He's like all gross looking. It's like, oh, whoops.
Yeah.
I guess I picked the wrong Max von Sydow movie. Yeah. But anyway, beyond that though, well, okay. I mean, I don't know. What were your guys' overall thoughts about this movie? Because I mean, I don't really have too much to say. Like,
I don't either.
Yeah.
Boring, honestly. It was really boring.
yeah.
Like, Jesus.
Little too long. Again, like In the Name of the King, it could have been like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Would have been fine.
I mean, I think this movie would have been better if it were a solid 80 minutes. I would have to say that, well, if you want to compare this to In the Name of the King,
Which
listeners
haven't watched yet.
Yeah, listeners of this
Technically.
show will soon find out. I mean, maybe not too soon, but in time we'll discover what our thoughts are on In the Name of a King, a Dungeon Siege tale directed by Uwe Boll and starring Jason Statham and Lily Sobieski. Listeners of the show will soon find out what our thoughts are. But as far as this movie goes, I think this movie could have been a solid 80 minutes. I will say that I like this movie more than In the Name of the King, because I found it funnier, first of all.
Yeah.
The main reason I chose this...
Well,
main
I
reason I
can't
chose-
say. I mean, I haven't seen In the Name of the King yet. So,
The main reason I found this funny was... you guys, you know why I chose this movie.
yeah.
It's the Wigs. The Wigs are incredible. The Wigs in this movie easily earn this movie an extra star, in my opinion,
Yeah.
because they are simply glorious. If you have no clue what's going on in this movie, which I can understand that would often be the case because there are no transitional moments in this movie whatsoever. Like the film is pretty much made up of nothing but the highlight reel, which I'll talk about more in a minute. But if you have no clue what's going on in this movie, it doesn't really matter. All you have to do is just enjoy the stupid looking wigs that these people are wearing, half of which don't even fit their heads. And a lot of the time they make their foreheads look enormous.
Oh my God,
This
yeah.
movie should have been
Yes,
called In the Name of the Forehead.
Yeah, there was so many foreheads. It was wild.
Incredible.
I thought everyone looked like they were in an 80s thrash metal band.
Yes, it was glorious. They like this movie. I could take like a random hour of this movie and just edit the hell out of it in any order I want and put it to music by like Sleep or some stoner metal band, and I would just enjoy the shit out of it. It would be the best music video of all time. I mean, let's be real. This movie has a lot. Like, if you take any random 5 minutes of this movie, you have an instant classic. But when you watch it all together, it's kind of a piece of shit. I mean, the biggest problem is that the director, who I believe is French, and I'm sorry I keep picking on the French here, but like, I just can't help but notice that some of the weirdest movies we watched on this show happen to be either French or Australian. But anyway, putting that aside, I think that he was trying to follow the Braveheart formula, which, regardless of who the director of that
They
movie
mock
is,
Braveheart.
Yeah,
Kind of. They take a little dig at it. That
they
was this
do.
movie, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was. It was this one. Regardless of how people feel about the director of Braveheart, I mean, I don't think anybody can really dispute the fact that Braveheart is pretty freaking glorious. I mean, Braveheart takes a very interesting and intense and contentious part of history, and it does take some liberties with it. Let's not mince words, but it takes a particular time in history and turns it into just an epic, old-fashioned, glorious, swashbuckling tale of this Scottish dude who just wants to take down England. And it's great. It's the most satisfying movie ever. I love Braveheart. I've watched it a million times and I never get sick of it. I cry every time. This movie tries to follow the formula of Braveheart, but the problem is that Braveheart is about a time in history that's actually like really inspiring and unique. And this movie, Druids, is actually about a really depressing time in history that you can't really get much of a swashbuckling sense of out of. And then to make it worse, they basically kind of just take out all the bleak, depressing parts involving like poverty and illness and insanity and political corruption, and pretty much just like focus mainly on this king trying to get revenge on a mission that doesn't end up ultimately working out, because he ends up getting a lot of innocent people killed, and then he surrenders because he decides that he has integrity. The message of the movie is, to be to live with integrity, but it doesn't really show like the value of that. It doesn't really show the selflessness of it, like what it means to be a good person and all that stuff. That was my main problem with the movie, so I really mostly just enjoyed it for the wigs.
The wigs were spectacular. I liked the ponytail guy.
Yeah,
that was my favorite.
The ponytail guy was great. Yeah. And I loved Max von Sydow because he was pretty funny. And I have to admit, like, even though Christopher Lambert like is kind of a joke in this movie, he's still kind of funny to watch, like, because his acting in this movie, every speech he makes, he's like, for glory, for everything that you stand for half the booty. Like he's just hilarious. And the characters say that so many times. Yeah. And then you have a random scene where the woman, like, she's about to get into that altercation with that dude and she decides to flash him. And then he gets distracted.
Right. I was gonna mention that. That was stupid.
It happens twice in this movie.
Yes, that was the other time. Like,
and the second time it happens is even more over the top.
Yeah, the Romans were sieging them, and then the girls of the town just flash them, and it works.
Yeah. Yeah. They just took their tops off and started dancing around naked. Like, it was just like, what gives with all this topless nudity? Like, was there a point to it? I'm not sure.
Did it happen?
I mean, well, people have started wars over wanting to get laid, so I wouldn't be surprised if it happened in real life.
I mean, I'm sure that even today that would probably be an effective strategy to at least go, what the fuck?
I mean, if it comes to somebody with like I don't know, who I guess has some serious distractibility issues. I mean, I guess like
one thing is like they also did mention that the Romans their soldiers were starving, and they started out first by chucking food over to distract them, which broke their lines a bit. But then they also, why did they do it? Flashed them. I don't know. Like,
I mean, there was kind of no point.
They could have just ended it with the food, because that made perfect sense. But then they also just had to top it up off with like the village ladies flashing the Roman soldiers.
Yeah, which I don't know. I mean, I guess in a way they were trying to sort of maybe establish the theme that women are the ones who were truly in power in certain capacities, because even though men were the purveyors of authority, it was the women who tended to be the motivating factors. I mean, maybe that was what they were trying to kind of emphasize with it, but they didn't really go into that, though. Like, they sort of established that theme, but then never delved into it. And they did that multiple times throughout that movie. You know, when it came to like all of the side characters, the way they were trying to evade the enemy forces through the process of negotiation, but then we never even saw the negotiative processes of that. We just saw the battle scenes. So it's like, how are these people negotiating? Like, where's the negotiating coming from? You know, and then Christopher Lambert, who toward the end of the movie adopts that random boy, which kind of implies he's going to pursue sort of like a mentor relationship, but then again they never go anywhere with that. Like they just kind of drop it. Like this movie's a mess.
Squire,
yeah.
Makes him his squire.
Yeah.
His mustache, I also want to know, was silly.
Yeah, the mustache was hysterical. I mean, I enjoy looking at Christopher Lambert's face when he's wearing the crepe hair beards and like all the ridiculous stuff. And when he's got the faux hawk and like all that, or whatever that was, the not the faux hawk, the torpedo. Like I don't, they like at the part early on in the movie where he's got like the wavy hair thing where he just shifts a little bit and his hair shifts with him. It's like, and they have to have the slow motion shots of his hair bending in the wind, you know. And then they do the same thing like about the hour and 30-minute mark with the kid, who basically, like, I don't know what direction they gave him other than, okay, you're a kid who's obsessed with Christopher Lambert, and that's kind of it. And then like also there's that random chick who just dies for no reason, like in the most hilarious way ever. I mean, it was just things like that I just kind of, I don't know, they kind of drove me to absolute just, I don't know. This movie,
the one that flashed her boobs at that one dude,
the one who they sparred at the beginning of the movie, and then she like gets shot with the random arrow.
Oh yes,
like
I thought they were weren't they just using slingshots? I thought
maybe that was
people
it.
were getting murdered by slingshots.
Well, whatever it was just funny because she was talking or doing whatever it was, and then she was like, ugh, and like she freezes, and then it's like one of those actors' choices where they think, oh, if I just freeze, it'll make me look dead, or like I just lost my life, or that my life just escaped my body, and so I just always laugh when I see actors do that.
There's also like a little love triangle-y with like him, like I don't think they were like necessarily in love, but they were doing it apparently. It seemed like because she was like he found the girl from the beginning of the movie,
right, which again, like Braveheart, the childhood backstory, like Braveheart, like, but go on.
Yeah, they had some type of blood ritual because they're druids. They, put blood in their mouths and made out, and just like assumed that they did it as well. But then he meets up with his childhood love, and she's just like, yeah, go to her, that's fine, we weren't really a couple, we were just doing it. Which I'm surprised with at that time. I don't fucking know. She was more like a muse or something to him, I guess.
I mean, I think that they never really establish her as being anything other than like a motivating, like, oh, she's like a carrot or something. Like I have to sort of follow her. Like somehow this revenge plot that I'm pursuing involves like getting her in the end, but I don't know. It just seemed kind of like, I just don't understand why she was even in the movie, because she didn't really end up being an important character ultimately, even though they sort of led you to believe that she was going to be.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew she wasn't going to be anyway because it would have been pointless, but like, I don't know. Like they just added so many weird, there's just too many little random things going on in the midst that just kind of bog down this whole, like, kind of just takes away the whole revenge. Like, what is even the purpose of this revenge at this point if there's all this other stuff occupying your time? Like, you're already like too busy.
Like the whole druid thing didn't make any. Yeah, the whole druids in themselves didn't make any sense. Yeah. If it was just more or less like a nomad, like a group of various whatever they would, not villages, but
Yeah.
nations.
Well, when Max von Sydow was like, hurry, kick me in the butt, kick me in the
Yes.
butt, and then he kicks him.
I
in
was
the
gonna
butt and he
mention
runs
that
away.
next. He
Yeah.
says ass, Ethan. He's like, kick
yeah.
my ass or something.
Kick my
He's
ass.
like,
Yeah.
get out of here. Ow, 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 ow.
Yeah.
It's so fucking
Yeah.
stupid.
I laughed at that. I was like,
I
wow,
laughed.
this is,
Yeah.
yeah.
That was my favorite part of the movie, honestly.
Yeah.
Shit.
Admittedly, it was like up there for me too. Yeah, no, I see what happened. It's all right, what was I saying? Yeah, there were. I mean, pretty much all the scenes with Max von Sydow were funny to me, like because he provided the only source of amusement beyond like the wigs and the beards and the foggy, dust covered sort of armor chain, which some of it looked okay, but then some of it looked a bit like a little too light on the shoulders. Just seemed like they could have used a little bit more protection here and there. I mean, I don't know. I'm a little bit of a historical stickler, I guess you could say. So there were a lot of aesthetic discrepancies that irritated me about this movie, but that's not really why I was watching it in the first place. So I guess I can't really complain about that. I mean, I don't know, wasn't really a good movie. I would enjoy it as like mixtape material, I guess. Like I would like if I could take footage from it and use it in a music video, because I think that there are some things about it that are visually cool, and I also I admit that in a weird way I do kind of admire the bravery that it takes to sort of make a movie about such an oddly specific time in history and try to do it in a way that sort of almost in a way works in a Braveheart kind of way, but the end result just doesn't really work all that well.
Yeah.
I would give it a 2 out of 10 because I did enjoy the Wigs and I did enjoy Max von Sydow. But beyond that, I can't really see myself watching this movie again other than to watch certain scenes just to kind of laugh at them and enjoy them. And maybe to kind of just, I don't know, find maybe some of my favorite little reaction shots of Christopher Lambert, because some of them were pretty funny, I gotta admit. And then some of the fight scenes were kind of funny too. So
yeah, I'd give it a 1.5.
yeah.
I'd have to 1. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
1. I was just bored throughout the whole fucking thing.
Yeah.
And then the
Yeah.
way that it ends was just so anticlimactic. I was like, I knew it was long and over, but I was like, oh, this is how it ends? Because
Yeah, I hated that ending.
yeah. I was like,
Hated
okay, you failed and you died. Good job.
Yeah. And I knew it was either going to end that way. I was pretty sure that it was going to end that way, but I thought maybe they'll try to do a switcheroo and change the ending or change what happens or something. Maybe take some kind of historical liberty just for fun. But no, they actually decided to tell the truth, which, yeah, I mean, I applaud the fact that they wanted to be honest, but didn't really make the movie good. Didn't really make the movie enjoyable. So, but yeah.
I gave it a 1.5 at first, but I don't know. Going over it again, I'd probably give it a 1.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Overall, it's kind of boring, but I got a few chuckles out of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the Wigs really did make it worth it for me. I will admit. I really did enjoy. Just be when I thought that they couldn't get any worse than they could get or any cheaper looking, suddenly somebody would bust in with just some kind of horrible looking thing that just I couldn't even believe, and it made the movie kind of magical to me, to be honest. So,
Yeah.
but I still wouldn't recommend it.
No, definitely not.
So. And that's really, I don't know. I mean, I know I've been kind of dominating this conversation, and I apologize. But do you guys have anything else you want to say about Vercingetorix?
His name was Bananas, which was the first clue that I thought this might be an actual fucking
Mm.
an actual story. It was just a crazy name. Like who could have like why would you name your character something unintelligible? Because I watch it with subtitles, so that
Yeah.
it popped out to me that it's like a fucking 12-letter name. I'm like, what the
Yeah.
So I was like,
Yeah.
okay, so this might be a real story just based on his name alone.
I gotta admit, like, I kind of love that name. Like, I kind after the movie was over, I kind of kept on saying it again and again. I was like, Vercingetorix. You know,
Yeah,
it's one of
it
those
isn't bad.
like it.
Yeah.
It's like that name Scheherazade. Like, there's just something catchy about it. Like, it flows off the tongue. There's just something really like, I don't know, just kind of like, just I don't know, just satisfying about saying it. You know, just
Yeah.
anyway. That's about it. So,
Yeah.
anyway, good movie. But anyway, so no, but I guess that concludes this episode. And so yeah, now do we have any picks for the next episode?
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
I landed on one. Yeah.
All right. Do you guys want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
I'll go first because I don't have much to say about it,
Okay.
or any reason why. But and also I don't know. I didn't double check if it's on the 100 list or not.
Okay.
But the more or less the reason I chose it was because I thought this was Pluto Nash, but it's that Meet Dave movie.
Okay. The Eddie Murphy one?
Yeah. Because when we were watching Pluto Nash, I thought that this was that movie, and then like it wasn't, obviously. And I was like, okay, well now I want to see that Meet Dave movie now.
Okay. All right. Cool. Excellent. I may have seen it, but I'm not 100% sure. So I'll find out when I watch it, I guess. But
Nice.
meet the title though. I don't know. I am looking forward to it because I enjoy Eddie Murphy very much. So
Yeah.
all right. Do you have a pick, Zach?
Yeah. I was originally gonna choose Postal for Movie Bowl, but I don't know if I can take more of him right now.
Oh yeah, that's all right.
So
no worries.
I'm gonna go with Blood Gnome.
Blood Gnome.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's,
all right. I like
got it right
I
here.
like the title. Oh, that looks epic.
Nice.
Oh, wonderful. All right, cool. All right, well, all right, well, okay, since I am gonna kind of get back into weird movies again, I am kind of choosing a little bit of an edgier, well, way edgier, really, I should say. I routinely see this on lists of like most shocking movies, and I do apologize for choosing it in advance, I must say, but I just, my curiosity has gained the better of me, and I'm gonna choose Teeth.
Ooh, I was thinking about that one too.
Yeah.
Teeth.
Yeah, and at one point you were also thinking about Feed as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. We should definitely do that one at some point because I have some strong feelings about that one. But for now, we will stick with Teeth. So.
All right.
How about
nice.
you? Yeah. Cool. How about you? So you've heard of that one, Zach?
Yeah, I own it. I haven't watched it yet though.
Ah, okay, cool.
Yeah, I have no idea what it is.
Oh, okay, good. Well, all right, excellent. Okay. I won't say anything. So, all right. Well, until next time, have a good night, folks. Yeah, and be well and be good to each other. And yeah, life is good.
Stay safe.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.